Hey Harmonizers, we are going on an adventure to Vermont, and along the way I've got my girls with me and we're going to stop at some pretty cool places. We've got some petting zoos that we stopped at on our way to Vermont for a Harmony Horsemanship workshop. So I'm going to share with you guys some pretty cool tips and actually show you some examples of relaxation and tightness that are kind of overlooked in horses, but that'll be kind of fun to show you guys some of these clips of along our way there. This was super cool. This is a castle playground that was in New York because I guess Bolt Castle is very nearby. And so they modeled this one after the castle, which was kind of cool. And definitely having kids has kind of slowed me down a little bit and made me appreciate some of these things. I've driven by this particular Welcome to New York spot many times, but this was the first time that I actually stopped and we used their playground. That's Sarah. She came with me both to work with Newton and to help with the kids and the horses along the time. Little Evelyn using one of those little spinny things, super cute with the little lighthouse look and spinning around. Inside, they had a really nice little area that you could sit down. Didn't have to sit on the floor, but I was on the floor with my kids, and some fun food that we could catch into. And we did a bunch of different clinics, and I apologize, no videos recently because the internet in Vermont was like really horrible. Even my daily Wordle was having a hard time loading, so we weren't able to upload any videos and do a lot of that stuff there, but you guys can look forward to some new stuff coming all this week. So just a few more little clips. This was a really fun playground that we saw just on our last 30 minutes drive to where we were going, and they had zip lines and everything. It was really, really fun. And just kind of another example of now that I have kids, we kind of slow down and stop along the way and get our sillies out. So that way it's not necessarily all car all the time. Definitely makes it a little bit of a longer drive. Sometimes I get asked, what's the longest you usually keep your horses in the trailer? And I'll usually load them up around 7:30 in the morning, and then I like to be done by midnight is the longest I like to keep them on the trailer. And we usually offer water after they've been on the trailer for about 6 hours. I find if we offer it before then, they're not really all that excited to drink from it. So this is Melina Bina. She found the water dish when we finally got to Vermont. I'll show you guys Newton and King. They settled in pretty well. They ended up developing this little bromance together, and they shared this kind of stall to an outdoor enclosure, which was nice that they got along so well because they could come in and leave as they please to have shelter, which is pretty cool. That's their little outdoor space there. Really nice setup for them. Inside, we had Melina with her playpen and some toys. She now crawls, so we have to kind of keep her contained a little bit. And she's stuck in the corner with the riding ring all around. So it was really cool setup for the girls. Lots of fun things. Evelyn playing with some of the obstacles in between. And now let's get into some of the stuff with the horses. So first up, this is day one of the Become the Center of Your Horse's Universe clinic. And a big part of day one is recognizing where your horse is at, what is their energy level, what is their attention span, are they paying attention to you? Are we noticing their ears? And in the beginning, we see horses looking out a lot. We see them not necessarily shaping. We see them sometimes pushing on their owners and not having passive leadership. So we do some different exercises to help build that connection and also develop that passive leadership. People start to gain an awareness of, where their horse's focus is at, where their energy level is at, and then helping to bring that focus on to them. I'll show you guys a neat little exercise you can do with poles, which is perhaps a little different than you might initially think. So here's just a person starting to walk their square exercise and learning how to do that with the straight lines and the 90-degree angle corners, which help to get the shaping, but also establish passive leadership, as opposed to a circle where it's not really clear who is pushing who sometimes. So this is kind of a fun way you can do it with the poles, as you can come in and the idea is to keep the horse on the outside of the poles and the human on the inside. And so this helps to make sure that you can do the straight lines and that your horse is shaping out and around on those corners rather than leaning in and bringing their shoulder into you and bringing their feet into you. So this really helps with the relaxation piece as well as establishing that passive leadership. Very easy to set up and really powerful in the sense of keeping your horse relaxed and helping them understand that you're in the passive leader stance. And if you've got no idea what I'm talking about, make sure you check out harmonyhorsemanship.com and you can check out some of our free online courses to get a better understanding for that. So this was an interesting horse. She is a Frisian mare, and she holds her head naturally a little bit higher, but take a look at her eyes. Her eyes don't blink, and then they'll do kind of rapid blinking, and she's not prancing on the spot or doing something that's a little bit more extroverted to show you that she's anxious. But if you really look at her body and look at her head and look at how she's looking out, there it's a little bit more obvious because she actually tried to pull away. But if you look at that eye and those kind of, you don't see the whites of her eyes, but you can just see she's not really blinking very softly and regularly. She's kind of really watching her surroundings. This is a horse that's feeling more tense, or what we would say is what we call in the red zone. And we need to do calm connection exercises to help the horse settle and get more relaxed and get more calm and connected to their human. But I thought this was a really great example to show a horse that was on the verge of blowing up, that if you were tried to make them stand still, could have gone very south pretty quickly, could have turned into rearing. But the main thing is you need to pick up on that. You need to be noticing your horse's body signals and being aware of their eyes and their nose and their ears. So you're paying attention. And now you can see, just from doing this little bit of square exercise, the head is already coming so much lower. There, she brought her head up a little bit as she looked out. But in general, her head's set way lower there as she gets more relaxed and more settled. And the idea behind the square exercise is you turn if your horse is too fast, distracted, or just because you want to. And the idea is that the horse gets looking off and you're like, no, it's okay. You don't have to pay attention out there. I've got you covered. Just focus on me. Just focus on me. And that really helps with all of that. So here's another horse that's not blinking. Their eyes are just kind of wide to start with. Here the horse starts to lick and chew as they start to settle a little bit, but was kind of doing that same freeze internal process. Looking off to the side can be them not having a lot of confidence and needing to relax a little bit. And there you can see his eye again, not super blinking. You can see his nose is a little bit tight as well. His chin actually looks short, for example. And then here's a look after he's done some more licking and chewing. He's blinking more regularly. See how his mouth looks more rounded? His chin or his bottom lip doesn't look too short for his mouth anymore because he's not holding it as tight. So he definitely could do a little bit more releasing because he's still a little bit looking around, not necessarily a soft blinking, but gives you a little bit of insight into what we're looking for in our horse's body and learning to understand our horse. Here's an example with that black Frisian horse doing that square exercise on the poles. So the idea is to get that shaping and make sure that you're walking your straight lines, meaning that you're choosing the direction where you want to go and your horse isn't pushing you in either direction, which when you walk a circle is a lot harder to tell if that's happening at all. Here's another little horse coming out and starting to do a different exercise. We started to work on what are called boomerangs, which is where you send your horse out and around an object and have them come back to you. It's a great exercise for teaching your horse to find you and start to seek you out. And then at the end of the first day, now it's time for Newton and King to come out and have their session. So this is Sarah working with Newton here. So Newton's going to be coming to the Thoroughbred Makeover. His registered name is You're All Right. He raced 14 times. And so Sarah, Natalie, and I are entering Newton as a team. I'm team captain. And so this is Newton's first off-site experience. He's never been anywhere. He hasn't been to a show or anything. So this is his first off-site. King is in the background, not very happy that they've been separated for this session. So Newton's actually doing a pretty good job considering that King is over there screaming in the background. He was running around a little bit too. So it's kind of good for both of them to go off site. King's only been to the one other show at this point. Newton has gone nowhere since coming to our farm. And Sarah's just doing some calm connection exercises. She's getting him focused, shaping, thinking about her, just trying to hold his attention. You can see he's doing a fair bit of lick and chew in there. And starting with that groundwork, just trying to establish that connection so that way when she gets on in the saddle, that it also stays really positive. And because it was his first time going offsite, I was really kind of saying just focus on relaxation. Have your goal be relaxation. Don't worry if you trot or canter today. That's not the big deal. You want Newton feeling really happy to be with you. We don't need to start big fights or anything like that where there might be a pulling match or something like that. Just get him soft and flexing and moving with you, holding his attention and his focus. And you want him walking away feeling like, yeah, okay, I was really happy to come out and hang out with Sarah. So this is really nice. You can see him doing lots of licking and chewing. Sometimes when they do a little bit of that head shaking, it can be frustration. But in the sense here with Newton, I think it's actually him releasing some tension and starting to let go a little bit. And we see that because he also does a fair bit of licking and chewing. We see him do a lot of blinking. All of that helps us to know that he's in that thinking frame of mind and trying to relax and come off of some of that adrenaline. So there she's doing a little bit of the ground exercises. She's doing a little bit of some S turns, making changes of direction, doing a lot of what we call from the right-left brain. She's going on the right side, the left side, which really helps. And you can see him starting to lower his head a little bit. He still really wants to look out at King, who's still in the distance, sometimes running around and screaming around and is a little bit not happy that his buddy is missing. But King, it's going to be your turn next after this buddy. So the main goal here is just for Sarah to keep Newton's focused. So he ended up doing really well, that she was able to get on and do a few things. Here she's doing a little bit of sideways, and she's prepping him for probably the trail class and the freestyle class. So what a great opportunity for Newton to come, and essentially Sarah's watching the kids all day during the workshop during the day. And then in the evening, it's playtime with the horses, and she gets to work with Newton and do some stuff with the ponies. So that's kind of fun. So he did sideways the one way, he'll do sideways the other way. Kind of gives you a little look at a little bit of what he did. And she just rode him at the walk for his first time, because remember, this is his first off-site ever, and had a long drive from Canada to Vermont, and just wanted it to be a really happy, relaxed experience for him. So you have to stay tuned for King's off-site and getting started with King doing his off-property experience. Thanks for watching, guys.